Hi, MBJB listeners. In honor of International Day of the Girl, which is on October 11th, No Boxes, Just Verses presents Verses in Service, a leadership miniseries. This is a special 7-part episode series that will run through October 23rd. And across this miniseries, you'll hear from many extraordinary women, from tech innovators, culture leaders and icons, educators, filmmakers, cybersecurity and AI experts, legal and governance leaders, and community builders. Their story is a masterclass in service-driven leadership, mentorship that multiplies opportunity, purpose that outlasts titles and boxes, and community that lifts the next generation. So we're marking this day, this moment, by amplifying the voices that open the doors for girls everywhere. I hope you enjoy this special. This is Verses in Service. Welcome to this episode of No Boxes, Just Verses, the podcast where we go beyond the titles, beyond the bios. We explore the lessons that have shaped today's most inspiring leaders through the songs that have moved them the most. Each week, we build a playlist of a leader's life. 5 lessons, 5 songs, 1 unforgettable playlist.
Let's put the pedal to the metal, let the top lean back. I don't know where we're going, I don't know what we're running to. I'm checking for you, how you feel about that. I think it's time we rendezvous.
And today, I'm so excited to bring to the show my dear friend, Miss Lakecia Gunter. Lakecia!
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to be here today, Shannon. I've been looking forward to this conversation. For one, you are my dear sister. I just have to say, when I think about you, you are that sister that provides support 24/7. And you do it so effortlessly. You lead with grace. You serve with grace. You create space where there is no room, you make room. And so thank you for pouring into my life and for making me feel, even though we don't have the same mother, I know you're my sister and I know you have my back.
Sure.
I know if I have a question, if I need help, you are a text or a phone call away, and it means the world to me. So I am honored to be sitting here today on your video podcast and having this conversation. So thank you for the privilege and honor to be here.
You know, I couldn't do this series without having an interview with you. I told you I wanted to do this it's been a long time we've been talking about this. We'll get into you doing your podcast. And so it's just a real full circle moment.
Absolutely.
Because you knew my heart and my passion. You were always like, yeah, girl, you need to do that.
I sure did.
Like, don't give up on your dream. And one thing I will say to the listeners, lots of other people have talked about having your own personal board of advisors or something like that. You're going to hear that a lot in a lot of these leaders. And one of the things I will say in having that personal board of advisors, we talk about having, mentors and supporters and peers and all that, but you also need to have just people who got your back.
Absolutely.
Like, even when you're wrong, they just have your back. They're your safety net. And when you have those people in your life that, we all hope to have that in our family and spouses and all the things. But sometimes what I call your chosen family, those are people that you've chosen, they've chosen you, and they're your safety net. And when you have that, you walk through life differently. Because, for example, I know if I called you at 5:00 in the morning and said, I am stuck in LA and I just need you to get me, you'd be like, and what we doing?
Done.
And vice versa.
Exactly.
Like, what we doing?
You're always calling me saying, hey, sis, I thought about you for this. Put your name up for this. What are you doing next week? We need to be here. I'm curating this. I want you on the list. You always create space for me and others. And by the way, when you create the space, it's amazing. Okay. It's always going to be first class. We know that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an experience that we won't forget. And it's going to be life-changing. It's going to pour into us. I know when I'm around you, I'm nourished in so many ways. I'm supported, right? You help me to grow. When I'm with you, I'm in soil that I know is going to grow. That's what you create for other people. So I just need you to know that, because you are a unique human being. You are one of one. You are a special sister. And I am so grateful for you. You have no idea.
Oh my gosh. Gotta receive it, because so many
Yes.
times when people give you praise, and I struggle with it, you're like, oh, stop talking about me.
Right.
But you also have to be in a season where you just receive it.
And you
just have to receive it while you're alive, and you can receive it.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you.
but okay, but this is about you.
Okay.
It's not about me. All right. I want to give the listeners a little bit of a rundown of your amazing career and trajectory. And so we always start with a little bit of the bio. And so I'm about to brag on you.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Now I have to be.
You gotta receive this. Lakecia, you guys, is an accomplished corporate board director, a visionary global C-suite leader, and a dynamic chief technology officer known for her ability to drive innovation, accelerate growth, and lead with impact. She currently serves on the board as the independent director for IDEX Corporation. Contributing to her expertise on that board, she's on the compensation committee and on the nomination and governance committee. In addition to that, she's a board advisor to Responsive.io, a private equity-backed startup, and a leader in strategic management response software. Throughout her illustrious career, Lakecia has been a trailblazer in digital transformation and technology innovation. Most recently, she was the Chief Technology Officer for Microsoft's Global Platform Solutions Organization, which is home to the largest partner ecosystem in the industry. She has shaped the technical vision and strategy to empower partners worldwide, just globally. And under her leadership, partners have leveraged groundbreaking advancements in AI and Microsoft technologies to build transformative customer solutions. Wow.
That's a mouthful for sure.
That's a whole mouthful.
Just say we're in tech and we love it.
Not only are you in tech, you're a trailblazer in tech, and you have forged so many pathways for so many people. I mean, I can't go on LinkedIn without Lakecia Gunter got the award for stemming this and for stemming that. And we're so proud of you to see, again, your face and your voice, especially in that field. And so we always like to go back to the beginning, because there's a little girl who, Lakecia happened to be in a movie I produced called On Board. And her story a little bit is shared in there. And I happen to know from that movie, there's a little girl who, as you said, I was a curious little girl.
Oh, I was.
Name the city again.
Haines City, Florida.
Like, that just sounds really like a very small, rural type of place. It was. South Florida.
It's in Central Florida.
Central Florida, sorry.
Fort Lauderdale, but raised in Central.
How far are those from each other? Because Fort Lauderdale is a different situation.
It's south. So it's Fort Lauderdale is south of Haines City. So it's about a 3.5 hour drive.
And Haines City, like, what's the industry there?
Well, to your excellent point, I mean, it is a small town. Our claim to fame was we produced the best oranges in the state of Florida. So Florida orange juice. And also, too, we're home to a lot of the theme parks that all of us like: Disney World, Universal Studios, and Disney MGM. And so a lot of people in my small town worked in the hotel industry, as well as in the theme park industry.
I see.
So that's kind of what we're known for. And now Haines City is growing. If you can believe, this is a totally different town. I mean, the houses are flying off the market. People are coming from Orlando and up north, and they're moving more central because there's a housing shortage in Orlando. So now we've got a Chili's. You got a Chick-fil-A.
You have made it, girl.
Listen, when you get a Chick-fil-A, you know you've made it.
Well, Chick-fil-A for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chipotle. Okay, we won't go there. But what I'm saying is, we're growing.
I mean, the reality is you can field a restaurant like that in your market. You've grown. And so the song that you picked, because we're going to talk about just like your upbringing and before you get to college and why even you decided to go to college. Again, I'm sure you know plenty of people who they didn't go. They got a trade. They went and worked in hotels, etc. You picked a really cute, I love the song Rise Up by Andre Day.
Yes.
Take us back to that time.
Wow. So I'm going to try to contain the emotion. But, for me, I believe that support is a superpower, but so is resilience. And so I was raised by a very strong community and family, but I was led by a warrior, and that was my mom. So my mom was one of the oldest of 9 kids. She was the second oldest. First was a son, and then my mom was the girl. And my mom was a single parent of 3. She made certain that I knew that I could achieve whatever I wanted in life. And that even though our circumstances may not have been the best at times, we weren't going to be defined by those circumstances. We were going to be defined by faith, family, and community. And we were going to find a way to overcome whatever obstacles we faced. And so I learned that from my mom, and I learned that from my family and my community. And so that's kind of why I chose the song Rise Up, because my mom was relentless and doing everything she could for her 3 girls. Wow. And we were going to rise up from where we were in that situation to make sure that we were progressing in life. And so we did. We did just that. And I grew up in an apartment, and then my mom bought her first home. We moved to our first home with the help of, her working hard, but a supportive family and community. And so I saw my mom set the example. She really was a blueprint for me, for strength, for perseverance, for resilience, that no matter, nothing in life would stop us. And so that's why I chose Rise Up.
She was modeling for you, like, just because your circumstances are like this doesn't mean you can't have that.
Absolutely.
So as a young girl, you saw that. And then the aspiration for you to go to college, and talk to us about where you went to college and all that, was that just like an assumed thing in the household? Or
Oh, absolutely. Education was a priority. And so I was the only child for 8 years. And so I spent a lot of time with my mom. We did everything together. And I was the oldest grandchild. And so a lot of my uncles and aunts didn't have kids. And so I was their daughter, so to speak. They invested in me. I knew very young, as a curious young lady who asked a million questions, my uncles knew. They would say, you're bound for greatness because you will not stop asking us questions about everything. You want to know why everything, does it work? Well, why does this happen? If you ask me why one more time, Keisha, they would say. But my grandparents also, too, stressed education. They stressed putting us in things that would expand our mindset, our network, our horizons. So I baton twirled. I took baton twirling lessons from my 7th grade math teacher. I was in the band. I played the trombone, if you can believe that. Yeah, so brass section right here. And so anything that I wanted to do and pursue, my mom found a way. It was never no. It was, let's figure out how we can make this happen because we want you to be a well-rounded young woman. And my grandparents and my uncles and aunts did the exact same thing. And so I knew that education was my passport out of a small town in Haines City, Florida, and the passport to a better life, not only for me, but for my family. So I went to University of South Florida in Tampa, and I chose South Florida over UF, even though I had a passion for aerospace engineering and the space program and all things Air Force. I decided to go to University of South Florida because of the feel of the campus, the feel that I got from the administrators, and the support that I knew I would have. And I had a full ride, and I was so grateful for that. And I majored in computer engineering. And the other piece at USF that was a differentiator for me is I had a phenomenal minority engineering program director, Dr. Joy Oshios, who was phenomenal. And if it were not for her, we would not have had a thriving engineering program that produced engineers that looked like me.
I see.
She made certain we had every resource we need. I had an internship every summer, freshman year all the way through graduate school. And she was the one who said to me, you're going to go to grad school, if there's any doubt in your mind, and you're going to apply to Georgia Tech.
Oh, wow.
Because she had been an administrator at Georgia Tech. And she also said, you're going to apply for a GEM fellowship, the Graduate Consortium for Minorities in Engineering and Sciences. They have a fellowship to go to grad school. You're going to apply. I'm going to tell my friend, Dr. Howard Adams, that you're applying. And by the way, when you're at HP, you're going to let them know that you're applying for GEM because you're already an intern. And at least they will know that you're in the draft and that they should consider you. So Dr. O created a blueprint for success for many students who looked like me, Black and brown students who would not have had a strong support system to matriculate in a PWI, predominantly white institution.
So again, we're in the early stages of your life here, but what is woven through here is supporter, 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 supporter. Supporter from family, aunts, uncles, supporter from school. You had a bunch of supporters.
Absolutely.
That really changed like the pathways for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll take a step back because I can't forget another strong support system that I had as a 14-year-old in Haines City. Again, now I said we were claiming the famous oranges as well as the Disney theme parks, but we did have a KFC. And the KFC was owned by a Black couple, which you rarely see a Black couple in a franchise situation. And they owned several KFCs. Mr. Tinsley played basketball in the ABA with Dr. J, and they were very good friends. And Mrs. Tinsley came from Kentucky, and her family owned radio stations. So they came to Florida, and they opened 2 KFCs. And they made certain that they invested in young African-American people in the community, and I was one of them.
Oh, wow.
So I started off as a lobby hostess, and by the time I was a senior in high school, they trusted me to become an assistant manager.
Wow.
So they recognized something in me very early on, and they gave me an opportunity that I could have shied away from. But they said, Lakecia, we believe you can do this, and we want to support you. And so that was my experience around leading teams, leading my peers, customer service. How do you run a business? How do you have a leadership mindset at the age of 17?
And it's one of those things where when it's happening, you're just being supported. You don't realize you're learning like these invaluable skills.
Absolutely.
At a young age.
They set me on a course to say yes to opportunity,
Yeah.
even if I was afraid.
Yeah. That explains so much about the woman that I actually know many years later in terms of how that, like, that foundation for you. So let's move forward a little bit. The next song that you picked is Go Get It by Mary Mary. I love that song. It's got a nice look to it. This is now you're early in your career. You finished with school. I mean, my goodness, you've gone to Georgia Tech, like this premier technology school, gotten a graduate degree there. You're kind of golden, and now you got to go work, right? You got to go do something. So why that song?
Well, because as I talked about in the very beginning, right, we do know that support is a superpower.
Yeah.
And we also know, as I said, I have had the good fortune of having some amazing people in my life who invested in me and who gave me opportunities that I wanted to run from, but I said yes. And so I chose Go Get It because you know what? Sometimes you have to do it afraid. Sometimes you have to say, you know what?
Be uncomfortable.
Be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But go get it. Put yourself in a position to win. You may not have all the skills that you need at that moment, but you know enough people that can help you get there.
Yeah.
And that can help you level up. And so I chose Go Get It because I love that theme song. It gets me up in the morning, it energizes me and says, you know what? You have what it takes. Now you go get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what you did.
That's what I did.
And you got it. And so you start early in your career, you start working where? Because I know eventually you make your way to Intel.
So early in my career, I had the opportunity, like I said, to intern at several different companies. My last internship, I did 4 summers with Hewlett Packard in Corvallis, Oregon. Leveraged that experience after grad school.
Wait a minute. You went from South Florida and Central Florida to Oregon.
Let me tell you.
What did that Lakecia look like?
Let me just tell you. I went kicking and screaming and all of my glory, because, in Florida, we had a look and style about us. And I took all that to Corvallis, Oregon, another small town of 40,000 people, college town.
Yeah.
But again, it was Dr. O'Shields who said, you're going to Oregon. Because even though I got the offer, I was like, I'm not going.
Yeah, that's another world.
It is. It really was.
Especially from Central and South Florida.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so she said, you're going. And I said, okay, I'll go. But it was life-changing and transformative. They were my GEM fellow sponsor.
Okay.
So they paid for me to go to grad school. And they also gave me an offer at a college. But to your point, I thought, well, I'm starting out in my career. I'm going to go to Corvallis, Oregon.
Where is that in relation to Portland? Because I don't even know where that is.
So Corvallis is about an hour and a half south.
So it's not even Portland?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's on the way down to Eugene. So you stop at Corvallis, Oregon State, a half hour, 45 minutes more, you end up in Eugene at University of Oregon.
And there can't be a lot of women of color from South Florida or the East Coast or anywhere.
There are very few people that look like me.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know what? I had a great cohort of friends at Georgia Tech. We were graduating. We were all moving to Austin. We got offers from Motorola. So I said, well, that's where I'm going to go. I am going to go to Austin, Texas. And I had a great experience there, living in Austin for 7 years, starting my career at Motorola, which was later called Freescale.
Okay.
My master's was in electrical engineering. I became a digital logic designer. And so I was building large-scale microcontrollers for the automotive industry.
Wow.
So Ford, Chrysler, GM, everything from airbags, analog braking systems to body electronics. So all the microcontrollers in the car, that's what we built.
Wow.
And so I really enjoyed that opportunity. Had a great manager and leader there who at a very early part of my career gave me an opportunity to lead those projects. And so I've been blessed.
You've been blessed, but like most careers, you've had to really figure out your pathway. You've had to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, moving across the country, not having family, having to make friends. The next song you picked was Unstoppable by Sia, but it's interesting because how did you deal with constantly being the only one? And by the way, the whole Georgia Tech thing, we didn't even talk about this because my husband went to Georgia Tech
That's right.
as well. And so there just wasn't a bunch of, dare I say the bad word, diversity.
Yes.
There wasn't a bunch of diversity there. And so you continually were onlys. And so when I hear that song Unstoppable, I think that had to kind of weigh in like your thinking.
It did. And you know what? I think over time, I recognized that I was building my skill set, that I was, they say, earning my chops, so to speak, or I was building that foundational professional expertise that would take me from one role to the next. And so I had to learn to trust that I had earned the seat, I had done the work, and that no one else was Lakecia, that I was bringing my unique differentiation to that space and to own my credit, own my skill set, to walk in the credibility that I had built and to own the seat that I was sitting in. I chose the song Unstoppable because it took a minute to get there, right? To realize that, you know what, you don't have to prove anything to anyone else. You've got the pedigree from the education. You've got the pedigree from the professional experience. Just trust the seat that you earn, sit in it, own it, and walk confidently. We know that, it takes courage sometimes to walk into that confidence that you should possess based on your experience and the accolades that you've received because of the hard work you put in.
Yeah.
And so I just began to say, you know what, there's nothing that can stop you except you.
Yeah.
So you need to receive and own your brilliance, for lack of a better term.
I love that. There's nothing to stop you but you.
But me.
It's not other people.
No, it's
you.
me. How am I perceiving myself and the body of work that I've created and how I'm showing up as a leader? Spending a lot of time with my mom and my grandparents, I had the foundational values. Service before self, servant leader, lift others as you climb. Your role in life is to really, to your point, what you do all the time is open doors of access where they may have been closed. They were closed for you. It's time for you to open them for others as well. And so I have the values. People, I was just on a call the other day and this woman said to me, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I mean, I guess I could. She said, Lakecia, there are very few leaders who have high IQ and high EQ, and you're one of those. And she said, where'd you come from? Came from upbringing.
Came from your upbringing. And I mean, again, at 14, you're like, by 14, 15, they're trusting you to run like a business.
Girl, and I got to tell you, my grandma, if she was still here today, she said, I used to come pick Keisha up. She would say, I pick Keisha up, and my grandma would bring her gun.
To the KFC?
Because we had to go drop the money.
Oh, the money, it's cash.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she would take them to the bank, and I'd make the drop at 17.
You're like not even an adult.
I'm not even an adult.
Handling money like that. But again, these are lessons that are carrying you through.
Yeah.
Lakecia, for people who are listeners who are afraid you've lived in a lot of places and you had to, at early ages, you had to pick up and go and just trust. What advice would you have for people who are sitting there on the fence of no, I can't leave here because I don't know anybody there and I might be lonely. What advice you have on how you were able to get comfortable with that?
That's a very good question. And you know what? It all goes back to having a supportive community, and trusting but verify. I trusted my instincts to say, this is a place that I should probably go. But let me talk to a few people. Am I off my rockers? Do I really think I can leave, to your excellent point, Florida? Now, I worked in Texas for 7 years, built a phenomenal network and family through work and church in Austin. Then I moved back to Florida for 4 years.
Okay.
And I worked for DOD. And an opportunity came for me,
DOD, Department of
Defense, to go work for Intel Corporation. Now, and I said, God has a sense of humor because the job was in Portland. And so I chose not to go to Corvallis, to go to Oregon, but God said, no, you're going to. I thought it was, first I wasn't thinking, it was I don't know what this is. But having talked to a few people to say, listen, going back to your point, do I leave everything I know, my comfort zone? Yeah. I built a great career here. I'm 6 hours away from my family. Do I leave everything? I'd just been promoted to the next level at the Department of Defense, had a phenomenal management team. Do I stay here or do I go to Oregon, where I believe for some reason I'm supposed to go? And so I began to seek my mentors, have conversations. I began to pray, and I began to say, Lakecia, you know what? You talk all the time about getting outside your comfort zone, about trying new things, about increasing your educational background, increasing your professional portfolio. Here's an opportunity for you to do it afraid, to get out of the boat, walk on the water, whatever metaphor you want to use. You counsel people all the time. How dare you not take your own advice? So that's how I landed in that role. So I would say to people, if there's something that you, in your heart of heart, believe you should do, and all the factors may not line up, you should go. I believe all great things in our lives happen when we get outside of our comfort.
Yeah.
So you have to bet on yourself. And I can't believe there's anyone that wakes up every day and say, you know what, I'm going to fail myself.
Yeah.
We don't. We find a way. So when you invest in you, you are your best investment. Go forth and conquer.
No, that really resonated with me because when I think about it, I live in the Bay Area. The first time, I call it, you keep having these signs and these crash moments like you were having.
Right.
I went there for a summer internship with IBM, lived in San Jose. loved it, and was like, I think I could live here. But then life happened.
Yes.
Married somebody in the military, and I'd never get back there.
Yes.
And then we wind up moving to California, another part of California. And then he winds up going to the Bay Area for this program. So we're now just spending time in the Bay Area.
Right.
And that was like 10 years later.
Wow.
But we still don't move. Like we moved somewhere else. So we
Right.
do all these other things. And so I was like, oh, I had forgotten about the Bay Area. And then eventually we wound up moving there in 2014. And now with people who know me, they just think I've been in the Bay Area
The whole time.
Like kids were raised there. Like they went to high school there. And so it's funny. It's like, gosh, we just kept crashing. Like I feel like God was like, will you just move there?
Yeah.
Like I keep putting these opportunities in front of you, and you keep like not doing them and following in my path.
Yes.
And the other thing I will say to you is that it's not always like rosy. A lot of people know when I first finally moved to San Francisco, first couple of years I actually hated it.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to leave, but now knowing me, people think I've lived there forever. Absolutely. And a friend of mine said, "No, you got to give new places 4 or 5 times. You have to actually be open to give it a chance. You're just like not giving it a chance. You're uncomfortable.
That's right.
You're finding everything wrong with it."
You always have one foot out the door.
Yeah. Like I wasn't committing to it. And now I can't believe it's our home.
To your point, I said I'm going to give Oregon 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been 17.
So listeners.
Okay.
See?
Well, and also say too, right? There's divine intervention. And so Oregon for me has been that promised land.
Yeah.
It's been the place where I've had so much opportunity, place where I've been able to build family. Yeah. It has provided for me all the things that I would want in a place, in a community, and I would have never, ever guessed that it would have been Portland, Oregon in a million years.
But something kept trying to make you go to Oregon, even despite your like, oh, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go do that.
I still crack up. I'm like, I don't know how I ended up here.
Yeah. Which is funny because I think of you as, whenever somebody says something about Oregon, I was like, oh, do you know my friend?
Right.
Because,
this is home.
That's your home.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's keep moving on your amazing stories. And so for this next lesson, I think you were torn. There were 2 songs that just competed. And I say, it's your playlist, so we're going to go with both of them.
Thank you.
Okay? The first song is For Every Mountain by Kurt Carr. And the second song is Never Would Have Made It.
Yes.
Yes, Marvin Sapp.
Yes, I tell you. It was hard to choose because at this phase of my life, it's really about leading without a safety net. And let me talk a little bit more about that. So we talked about my moving to Oregon and moving to work for a large semiconductor company there and finding an amazing manager and mentor.
Yeah.
And I moved to work for Pete. She had been a 27-year veteran in this company, very highly respected, well-regarded. And this was probably one of the first managers in a long time since I began my career that truly saw me as a full partner.
Wow.
She was vested in my success from day one. She said to me, Lakecia, you're going to do great here, and I'm going to help you. She said, I have no doubt you're going to knock this job out of the park. I was a technical program manager. She said, but what I want you to do is for you to be successful long-term here, you must have a network.
She told you about relationships.
The very first few days on the job.
Wow.
And she did one better. She said, I'm going to give you access to these 5 women. They've had my back, and they're going to have your back. Yep. She said, I've already told them that you're going to send them the email and go have a one-on-one. That's what I did. They instantly became part of my network. And, spending time with my manager, Pete, for 6 months or so, I'll never forget one of the final one-on-ones that we had. She said to me, Lakecia, here's where I see your career going, and I'm going to help you. So she planted a seed of where I could be in the organization. She told me that I should become a chief of staff and technical assistant to a C-suite officer. I had no idea what that was.
Right.
No clue. So I said, well, what's that? She began to articulate what it was. She said, but don't you worry. We're going to help you get there. Wow. It was March 31st, 2009.
So you remember the date.
I remember
that
the date.
pivotal.
It was the last one-on-one up for the day from 4 to 5 o'clock.
Wow.
And I was in tears in the meeting. I never really cried in a meeting. But when someone affirms you and tells you where they see you and that they're going to help you, I had to tell her, I said, I've never had a manager leader.
Yeah.
Because many times, often than not, sometimes you might find someone that's not truly on your team. Yeah. We've had some of those experiences. You may be on their team.
Yeah.
But they're not on your team.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, the next day, April 1st, 2009, she passed away.
Oh, wow.
So
it's devastating.
In that moment, it was devastating because I had moved to Oregon to partner with her.
Wow.
So that safety net, that sponsor, that mentor, that friend, that guide for me was gone. And so I began to question, now, why did I come here? What am I doing here? How am I going to make it? That was a really tough time. But I was able to channel what I knew she wanted for us and the team, for me and the team. It was later on I took over the team. But during that time, Shannon, I had to dig deep. I'm like, I can't survive in this company. There's over 100,000 employees.
Yeah.
I've been there for 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm a woman of color.
Yeah.
I don't have a built-in network. I did have those 5 women, but it was a gut check moment for me to say, are you living life on purpose? Do you believe this is where you're supposed to be? Do you believe that you were put here to carry on the legacy of your manager so that for every mountain you brought me over that never would have made it
Yeah.
on repeat?
Wow.
To be able to navigate that situation and that circumstance, to have someone who I cared for deeply suddenly gone. And it was an accident. And she actually was a pilot as well. Pint-sized pilot, strawberry blonde, loved animals, loved people. And she was flying her plane to work and the plane crashed. So it was sudden, it was tragic, it was horrific. It was all the things. And so I had to really dig deep and rely on my faith and understand that I was there for a reason, and it was to carry on her work.
Wow. She would be so proud.
Thank you.
She would
Thank
really
you
be
so
so
much.
proud.
Thank you so much.
And I love that you honored her.
Absolutely. We did it. We set out to do what she asked us to do, and we accomplished it.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick little pivot. You continue to rise through the company, and eventually from here, go to Microsoft. Is that right?
I do.
And, Microsoft's is a little company.
It's just a small little
It's a
company
small little
up the
thing.
street.
Up the street. Tell us how that came about, and obviously what a huge impact on your career.
You know what? Again, I just believe that when you put good things out in the universe, I believe when you sow good seeds, you reap a good harvest. And so that is what I've been taught my entire life. And so I actually got a LinkedIn request from a recruiter at Microsoft. We became friends, for lack of a better term. I would say we're friends because we still communicate today. And she reached out to me for 3 years.
Wow.
Keeping contact. Lakecia, how are you doing? How's it going? We love to talk to you. And I kept saying, no, I'm good. One day I thought, you know what? I'm trying to create space for my next opportunity in company A, and it's not manifesting. And I'm giving it time. I'm being very, very patient. I'm knocking on doors, constantly knocking on doors. And I'm sure it was an artifact of what was happening in the market. So the dynamics weren't shifting fast enough to create need for a new role. So long story short, I talked to my mentors and my sponsors, and I said, you know what? It's time for you to say yes to a conversation. So I said yes to a conversation. On the other side of that conversation, after talking to Isabella, was a leader, an African-American male leader at Microsoft, who was building a brand new business. And he said to me, Lakecia, I believe your experience base and what you've done in the last 3 or 4 years at Intel will be accretive to what we're doing. You can be a tremendous value add in helping us grow this Internet of Things business. He said, I'm looking for a sales leader who's built strong ecosystems. Would you be open to having a conversation? And I thought, oh, wow, this is amazing. I've worked for almost 25 plus years. I've never worked for an African-American leader. I've never seen an African-American leader running at this point, trying to grow a $2 billion business to a $5 billion business, a new business. Now, obviously, there's larger P&Ls, but when you're in an emerging market and you're building a bit, that's hard.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know what? Let me have the conversation. And I did. He offered me the job, and I said, no. I said, no.
Why did you say no?
Because I'm like, I'm not sure I want to leave where I am.
You were comfortable.
I was very
You
comfortable.
had great internal stock at that company.
There you go.
Yeah.
Brand value, brand positioning, a known quantity. I knew them. I knew everyone, having worked the jobs that I had. And so I'm like, oh, so now I'm actually going to go start something new
Yeah.
where I know no one. This guy is amazing. And what I could do is amazing. But how smart is that, Lakecia? And it was during the pandemic. I said no. And he came back and he told me why I should reconsider. And by that time, the folks at Intel had learned that I was entertaining another offer, and they all came back in a good way because we were family and say, hey, would you consider these options before you say yes? And I said, I will consider. And so that whole weekend I was on the couch crying. Because I'm like, what? Am I really going to do this? I'm like, I don't want to leave. These are my...
Like you breaking up with your long-term partner.
Right. Why would you do that? And nothing's wrong.
Right.
Nothing's really wrong.
Right.
But I realized that I wanted to be stretched. I wanted something different. I wanted to grow in a new way. I wanted new skills and I wanted a new experience. And so ultimately in the end, I said yes. Obviously, I transitioned to Microsoft. It was one of the best career decisions I could have made because it expanded my comfort zone. It allowed me to move into a sales leadership role.
Yeah.
It allowed me to work with some of the most brilliant minds on the planet. And more importantly, it allowed me to work for an amazing leader named Rodney Clark.
Yeah.
So with that, I did not lose at all. And one thing I can tell you, this is the power of finding and working for great leaders who are human-centric leaders, people-centric leaders who understand the power of building teams and investing in the people. Rodney was a people-centric leader, wicked smart, just one of the most brilliant business minds I've ever encountered. I always learned something from talking to him. But one thing he said to me as I was considering the offer, he said, Lakecia, I want to sponsor you into a career at Microsoft, not a job.
And again, that is so important.
Mm-hmm.
That is so like, especially the higher you get up,
Yes.
you are looking for a career. You are looking for ownership. You are looking for impact. You're not looking for, it's not a 9-to-5 job.
Not. No, mission-driven work with mission-driven people who have each other's back, who want to see you grow, who create the space and opportunity and put you in positions to grow. And so that was really what led me to go to Microsoft.
And changing the world.
And
Let's just be clear.
That part.
Like you and I both, you and I both know, and other guests on these episodes have talked about, AI is not new. It's new apparently to a lot of people in the masses, but especially a company like Microsoft has been doing AI for like decades. So you were really part of how do you grow these emerging markets in which y'all did, quite frankly, at like hyperscale.
Absolutely.
And that's a once in our lifetime opportunity.
That's why I was like, and to be honest with you, people say, Lakecia, I get it. This is a tough one and you should go, but we're always here.
And that's because you have left such a...
We're always here. And I was so grateful for that comment, that statement.
They're like, you can always come home, but go out and do that thing.
Yep.
So, wow. You like... so your career just took off. You're top of the chain, chief technology officer, digital transformation, AI, new markets, all the things. And then you get on a public company board, which is, again, crowning achievement and really a culmination of a whole bunch of experiences that you had.
Absolutely.
And so we are now in this phase of your life where it's like, tell us what this phase is like. And the song that you picked was For Your Glory by Tasha Cobbs.
I did. I love Tasha Cobbs. For me, this really all of my life, and I know you will resonate with this, it's really around being built on purpose, not for position. Yeah. It's not about the position. It's about purpose. It always has been. And lifting others as I climb, which is what you do all day, every day in your sleep, right? That's what it's about. That's what this season of life specifically is about, but has been the ribbon throughout my entire life. And so whatever leadership roles that I've been able to walk into, it's been about building a team of leaders that I could empower to be their best selves professionally and personally. Mm-hmm. It's about giving them the ability to fly high and being there to support them along the way. And so For Your Glory for me is I do everything unto Him. And it's about how I'm glorifying and edifying Him in this world, how with His people that He's put in my care, that I'm doing the right thing.
Well, not only are you doing the right thing, outside of all of your professional accomplishments, you pour into a lot of people. You give a lot to your sorority. You give a lot to your church. You give a lot to your family. You are such a giver with no expectation of the return. You're not a transactional relationship type of person. How do you think that has impacted your leadership?
Oh, I think it has impacted tremendously because, again, at the end of the day, I have to look in the mirror and say, Lakecia, did you show up in a way that honors people, that honors your faith, and how you operate? And so now there are times we are human every day. So there are times when there are situations that I'm like, this is wrong. I'm being wrong. people are treating me in a way that they shouldn't, because I do believe in doing to others as you have them do unto you. And so my filter has always got to be once I get the emotion out first. Let me just say that. Once I call, my girlfriends and say, girl, let me just tell you about the situation I encountered today. And let me tell you how I really feel. And we have that moment. One of my mentors and sponsors at Intel, and you're going to resonate with this because you do this all the time. She said, Lakecia, she said to all of us, especially Black women, people of color, you have to have a list of people that when things hit the fan or you've had a bad day at work, that you can send them a text and say, I need 15 minutes of your time. I need to talk to you about something important.
Yeah.
You're on that call list for so many people. And so I realized that I'm going to face situations and circumstances that are going to want to pull me outside of myself.
Right.
That I need to say, Shannon, you got 10 minutes. It's an emergency. And you say, how can I help you, Lakecia? And I say, girl, you would not believe what just happened in this work environment. And you're going to let me process that emotion. You're going to let me get it out. And then we're going to say, okay, now how do we really need to operate in this moment?
That's right.
And so I try to focus on that when I'm engaging with leaders and people that I work with, or really in any environment, because at the end of the day, no matter what emotions I'm feeling, we know that emotions are temporary. Actions are lasting. And emotions are just data.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So I have to take all those things into account and then go back to my value system and say, okay, I need to treat them with the lens and with humility and with grace. Because people have done the exact, because I'm not perfect. Now, I've probably been out of myself a couple of times in my life.
Haven't we all?
And people have extended me grace.
Yeah.
And so I want to extend, and I believe that's my mission in life, to extend grace to others in the way that grace has been extended to me.
Yeah. I think that is a perfect kind of summation. And so you've had this amazing career. Before we close, we want to know, what are you working on next? How do we follow and support your journey? And then I always ask my guests to give me the one song that when they hear that song played, it like I said, you laugh just like that. It brings you a smile. It just makes you happy.
Oh my gosh. So what am I working on? For me right now, I'm working on board opportunities and securing my next board to drive a greater impact in technology. I'm also building leadership cohorts because, again, we're talking about lifting as we climb and being able to give back all that's been given to us. Me and my best friend and you and a few others, we're looking at really putting together leadership materials and retreats that will help women step into their power, own their brand, own their power to achieve the levels of success that they want. And so those are some things that I'm working on with some friends who are like-minded. We want to make sure women and men can navigate these corporate spaces successfully. And how do we begin to package up in bite-sized chunks our learnings, our pearls of wisdom, our jewels of wisdom, so that they can be successful in their career. I've got a podcast called The Roar Podcast with Lakecia Gunter, and I'd love for folks to listen to that.
Yes.
You can find me on all podcast channels, Apple, Spotify, you name it, Amazon, and the likes. And I've been able to sit down with leaders like yourself who have shared their stories, who have shared how they've navigated life and how they've taken risks, or how they built strong teams. And so that is an opportunity for me to share my network with others and give people recipes for success, give them a roadmap to navigate things that we've had to face. And so that's what I would say. Definitely find me on LinkedIn, check out the Roar Podcast. And then the song that I love, I am from the South and from the dirty, okay, as they say. And so my song is by Lil Boosie, Wipe Me Down.
I'm on. Cause I'm on.
Hey,
I'm on.
hey,
Wipe me down.
Wipe me down.
That's all I know. I don't know the rest of the words.
I won't go there. I will spare
You probably do.
I do. I will spare your audience. And so let me just tell you, at every family reunion, every holiday,
You're wiping me down.
Listen, get out the way. Me and my sisters, we on the floor. They know the Gunter girl's gonna be on the floor, wiping it down to Lil Boosie. That is my song. Whenever it comes on, no matter where I am, I'm gonna stop.
Gosh.
And I'm gonna get it in.
I mean, it makes me smile when I hear that song too. So there you go.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, Lakecia, it has been such a pleasure. So first of all, we're gonna follow you on all the platforms.
Yes, please.
It's the Roar Podcast.
Yes.
And it's ROAR podcast. Very easy to find. And your IG handle and LinkedIn?
Sure.
Name?
Crown Lakecia or Lakecia Gunter on IG. I have 2 channels.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook as well. LinkedIn is Lakecia Gunter. You can find me. Twitter, Crown Lakecia. There's probably very few Lakecias. I tell people I'm the original. Okay, that means I'm old. So you can find me on, just Google my name. It's going to pop up.
And we'll put it in the episode
That'd be
notes
great.
as well. But listeners, please follow Lakecia. Please follow her podcast.
Please.
It's really amazing. I'm so proud of you, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
inspired. You doing your podcast was very inspiring to me
Oh,
for me
thank you
doing
so
mine.
much.
So we want to support you. So we're gonna recap your songs for our listeners.
Okay.
For the Lakecia Gunter playlist.
Yes.
First song we have is Rise Up by Andre Day.
Yes.
Next we have Go Get It by Mary Mary. Third we have Unstoppable by Sia.
Yes.
Fourth we have a tie.
Yes.
We have For Every Mountain by Kurt Carr. And we also had Never Would Have Made It by Marvin Sapp.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth we have For the Glory by Tisha Cobb. And our bonus song is Wipe Me Down.
Let me tell you, I'm on Wipe It Down.
Lakecia, it has been such a pleasure having
Thank
you
you
on
for
No
the
Boxes Just
opportunity.
Versus. We continue to watch you, and we continue to watch you roar to grow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
We're going to roar and soar together.
Thank
Love you so much.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening to No Boxes, Just Verses. And if this episode moved y'all, please share it, rate us, follow the show on your favorite platform, and we can keep building our leadership playlists together. So you can find me, guys, on Instagram as Shannon Nash 1 and No Boxes Just Verses on Instagram. You can also find me on LinkedIn as Shannon Nash ESQ CPA. You can also find No Boxes Just Verses on LinkedIn. You can visit our website at noboxesjustverses.com. Finally, don't forget to check out the show notes. The show notes are super important because this is where the playlists will live. You will be able to get these playlists on Apple and Spotify. You'll also be able to follow up and see how to reach out to the guests, follow them, and support them. Until next time, I need you to stay unboxed. You come for the stories, but you stay for the playlists. I'm Shannon Nash, and I'm out.